I will tell you, this is a lot different than what I was expecting. Again, I'm dazzled by the technology that Tesla has cranked out on this. This looks different again than anything we've ever seen. At the end of the day, every time you look at something from Tesla, it looks like, well, this doesn't even come from the same company. The only thing that's similar is, like I say, it's got batteries and separators and conductors and bus bars, but at the end of the day, it seems like they don't have a limit on their capacity to invent.
Yeah. In this video, Sandy Munro is amazed at Tesla's continued and unlimited ability to invent as the 4680 structural pack teardown continues. Plus, Tesla stock surges higher today, and a huge but completely unnecessary win for Tesla and other EV makers as a $7,500 EV tax incentive is back on the cards. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment theme merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. The emotionally unstable stock market continues to seesaw violently. Yesterday was a sea of red, today a sea of green. Tesla stock surging over 6%, closing about $825 per share, and still, in my opinion, the best risk-adjusted opportunity that I'm aware of in the stock market. The Nasdaq 100 today surged higher over 4%. Amazon stock up today over 5%. Apple stock today up nearly 4%. Alphabet stock rocketing higher almost 8%. Rivian stock up 1%. Lucid stock up almost 2%, Nikola stock up almost 3%, no comment, and the ARK flagship ETF up 6.69%, still down 61% over the last 1 year, but over the last 5 years up over 50%. Innovation is always a bumpy ride. And now some really quick highlights from the latest Munro Live teardown of Tesla's epic 4680 structural battery pack. Over to you, Sandy.
You can see here that we've blasted away some of this pink stuff.
I'm sure back in the day, Sandy Munro blasted away a lot of pink stuff. Wait, what?
And if you look down here, you can see the 4680 batteries. What we have found out so far is that taking this apart is a miserable deal. I cannot begin to tell you how many hours we've sunk in on this thing, trying to get things to pieces. Initially, we had been told, and were under the understanding, that this was going to be bottom cooled, and that basically says, I don't think so. So again, we're still picking at this, like we're still arguing whether or not that's underneath that orange thing there is the body control module, or is there a battery control module. But at the end of the day, I can't think of what else it could possibly be. And then we've got these little, I don't know, look like little bees' nests or something. We're not quite sure what those are.
It's not that often that the folks at Munro and Associates will be unsure about what they're looking at. This to me suggests massive innovation from Tesla.
You see these very tiny copper wires. So this flat wire is most likely used to monitor the temperature or the voltage for balancing the cells. There are 4 distinct modules, and it's one thing we wanted to see if when Sandy first predicted what we thought the battery would look like, we thought it would be all the cells in there as one big brick. It's not quite there yet. There's this barrier in between module 1, 2, 3, and 4 that looks like a fibrous phenolic barrier. Now, I don't know what our team's conclusion on that, but it would be maybe a thermal runaway mitigation. If you had something go wrong, it would keep it from propagating all the way throughout the whole battery.
Now, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but that would also be my guess. Maybe there's another reason, but if you're gonna have a battery pack on fire, doesn't happen that often, but if it does happen, probably better to thermally isolate some different modules in there rather than have the whole thing ablaze. Much better to have a quarter on fire in the worst case. Very curious to learn if this is the reason behind things. That being said, I'm also very curious about the pink foam. It'd be absolutely insane for this not to also be fire retardant, but a big enough impact on the pack, you're gonna have flames either way. So this is probably why Tesla has this clear barrier between the modules.
But actually, one of the things that we have seen is that this is cleverly done so that your chances of having a thermal runaway, I think, are going to be less than some of the other guys in the automotive business.
Translation, Sandy Munro's educated guess. In short, Tesla's 4680 structural battery pack, much safer than anything else in the marketplace in terms of the unlikely event that the pack catches on fire. Of course, this is extremely unexpected given the fact that Tesla's #1 priority when designing vehicles is definitely not safety. By the way, I know there's some people who, for some reason, don't actually understand that was sarcasm. Tesla's #1 priority, every one of their products, safety, has been from day one. This is unchanged.
I will tell you, this is a lot different than what I was expecting. Again, I'm dazzled by the technology that Tesla has cranked out on this.
So, Sandy Munro dazzled by what Tesla has done here and also surprised. He wasn't expecting to see what he's seeing. Clear indications that Tesla are creative and innovative when it comes to manufacturing. Of course, most people watching already know this, but it's important to understand the context here. Sandy Munro is an automotive engineering expert. He's been in the industry for many decades. In fact, longer than most people watching have been alive, really. So for Sandy Munro to be impressed and surprised at something he's seeing under the hood when he tears down the Tesla vehicle really speaks volumes.
This looks different again than anything we've ever seen.
So keep in mind, again, this is coming from a guy who's been around the block several times. He's seen everything. And in his own words, this is different from anything he's ever seen before. What are the odds that Sandy Munro and the team at Munro and Associates will be saying similar things when they tear down the latest electric vehicle that's currently just an idea that's being promised in the future from pick your legacy automotive manufacturer?
I mean, there's a lot of similarities. It's got batteries and it's got connectors and contactors, I should say, and bus bars. But at the end of the day, every time you look at something from Tesla, it looks like, well, this doesn't even come from the same company. The only thing that's similar is, like I say, it's got batteries and separators and conductors and bus bars. But at the end of the day, it seems like they don't have a limit on their capacity to invent.
Yeah.
What a line. It seems that Tesla doesn't have a limit on their capacity to invent, aka be creative and innovate. Of course, we already knew this. I mean, shout out to gigacasting, octovalve heat pump. I mean, I could keep going on and on and on and on. Half a decade ago, if we're being honest, Tesla sucked shit at manufacturing vehicles. They were great at software, they were great at many things, but actually physically putting together products, manufacturing, not so great. They got ripped on by Munro and Associates tearing down the original Model 3. But in the intervening years, keeping in mind that most other automotive manufacturers have been around for decades, some a century plus, in just a few years, Tesla's gone from sucking shit to embarrassing the entire automotive industry. That is creativity, that is innovation. They're putting the entire industry to shame. And comparatively speaking, they're still an infant. Just imagine what things look like in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years.
Each set of batteries, they were prismatic cells, were secured with aluminum plates, and those aluminum modules were secured to the bottom of this huge aluminum structure. You're eliminating all these threaded fasteners and threaded fastening operations with either laser welding, high strength adhesives, epoxies, glues, and Sandy, what's one of your principles when it comes to increasing quality?
Well, if you want to increase quality, there are three things that drive poor quality. Number one is fasteners of any kind. Okay, so I don't care if it's a screw or a rivet or what have you. It's one of the biggest opportunities for failure. When I was working for Ford, we did a great big giant study. The sealing and fastening team did. I was a co-captain on that. And guess what we found? And we found out that about 75% of all our catastrophes were directly attributable to threaded fasteners. When your head blows, if you have a cylinder head, if you have an ICE vehicle and the cylinder head blows, it's not the cylinder head's fault, it's the threaded fasteners. And not having threaded fasteners is, as far as I'm concerned, amazing.
You know, it's just occurred to me, when Elon Musk said the best part is no part, 1, he was right, and 2, he really meant it. And some big news from the United States, totally unnecessary, but hey, as a Tesla stock investor, I'm not going to say no. The $7,500 EV tax credit is back on the cards. From Bloomberg, quote, Senate deal includes EV tax credits sought by Tesla and Toyota. A breakthrough deal between Senators Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin includes the extension of a popular consumer tax credit for the purchase of electric vehicles. And just for those who are unaware, this $7,500 tax credit was previously available to companies like Tesla, but because Tesla's been producing so many electric vehicles and selling them all, they've run through their quota of credits, meaning Tesla's at a massive competitive disadvantage versus most other EV makers in the United States. Buy a Tesla, no credit. Buy a competing electric vehicle, up to $7,500. Yet despite this massive disadvantage, Tesla is still the company with ridiculous wait times who can't produce enough vehicles to meet the already insane demand. The credit is included in a broader legislative package that revives key portions of President Joe Biden's domestic political agenda and contains about $369 billion on climate and energy spending. It will allow car makers to continue offering $7,500 in tax credits for new electric car purchases and allow them to offer $4,000 for used electric vehicles for the first time. The deal also includes limits on the price and income eligibility of purchases. EV supporters have argued that tax credits are necessary to spur development of the nascent plug-in car market. Gotta jump in here. Some EV supporters. Let me be clear. This guy is on the record. These EV incentives are absolutely, completely unnecessary and a total waste of money. But as a Tesla stock investor, I'm not going to say no. We'll talk more about this in a moment. You see, here's the thing. 10 years ago, these EV incentives, very helpful. Today, unnecessary. The EV transition is already happening. It's inevitable. We're at the tipping point. These EV incentives really, in my opinion, are a low-key preemptive bailout to some of the legacy automotive manufacturers who are doomed and likely to be bankrupt before the decade ends. We're within 6 to 12, maybe at worst case, 24 months of reaching price parity, sticker price parity between an EV and a comparable ICE vehicle. But today, consumers who actually do the homework, which isn't a lot of them, but they are out there and know how to use a calculator, are already aware the total cost of ownership when you're factoring maintenance, recharging versus refueling of an EV is significantly cheaper than a comparable ICE vehicle today when you use your brain and factor in the lifetime cost of ownership to buy an EV today. The sticking point for many consumers, however, is, the EV costs a little bit more than the ICE vehicle today. I don't know how to use a calculator, so that's the only thing I care about. But more and more consumers are becoming aware of the lower cost of ownership. So, to be clear, these EV incentives, $7,500 incentive for new EV purchases, is an absolute fucking waste of money. With or without these EV incentives, the transition happens. And given the whole supply chain challenges and the material constraints, it's going to do literally fuck all to accelerate the adoption of EVs. And I mean literally fuck all. Nothing. It's just going to put more money in the pockets of companies producing these vehicles. Not a bad thing necessarily, but nothing at all to do with the EV transition, and everything to do with these companies making a little bit more money and surviving a little bit longer. Here's a question. Has Tesla sold every electric vehicle they've ever produced in the United States in the history of the company? The answer, of course, is yes. They've sold every EV they've produced anywhere on Earth in the history of the company. And is Tesla doing so profitably? Are they actually making money on the vehicles they sell? Yes, they are. In fact, industry-leading profit margins. Does Tesla already have wait times? 3, 6, 9, 12 plus months, depending on what model and trim you're ordering and what part of the world you're in? Yes. So, it's pretty clear that Tesla doesn't need this incentive. What about government motors? Will it help them? Probably. You did it, Mary. You led, and it matters. This may help some of Tesla's so-called competition to limp a little bit further into the decade before they all ultimately end up bankrupt anyway. But I want to underscore once again, this EV incentive is absolutely unnecessary to accelerate EV adoption in the United States. The company that's already producing more EVs in the United States than any other is Tesla. Their wait times are obscene, they've got crazy profits, they don't need the help, but they'll take it. So let's talk about the implications, the financial implications from a Tesla stock investor's point of view. If Tesla's wait times are already insane, and they are, and Tesla already has industry-leading profit margins, and they do, and they've already been forced to raise the prices on their vehicles dramatically, in fact, in Elon's own words, to embarrassing levels over the last 18 months, they have. We're talking 25 to 35% price hikes on their models in the last 12 to 18 months. If this is true, Tesla can't produce enough vehicles to meet existing demand. They already have obscene wait times, and they've been forced to rise prices predominantly to keep wait times under control and a little bit to do with temporarily increasing material costs, parts costs, supply chain challenges, and so on. If all of this is true, and it suddenly, effectively, becomes $7,500 cheaper for a consumer to buy a Tesla vehicle in the United States, give or take, that could effectively be a discount of, say, 15 to 20%. What happens if Tesla does absolutely nothing and the $7,500 tax credit becomes available to US consumers? I'll tell you what happens. Their wait times go from ridiculous to abso-fucking-lutely absurd and unacceptable. They won't allow this. Tesla will be forced to raise their prices significantly to ensure that their wait times don't blow out any further than they're already at. I can see it now. As Tesla increases prices, there's going to be a bunch of hit pieces in the media. Tesla's greedy. Oh my God, they're already making lots of money. I can't believe they increased their prices. They're so greedy. This is a scam. Fuck Tesla. I can see it coming. You can count on it. But you have to understand, as a Tesla stock investor and as a consumer, Tesla has no choice. They're already being forced to raise their prices to keep wait times in check, and they're still ridiculous wait times. My best guess is that Tesla will have to increase their prices almost exactly in line with this EV incentive. In other words, by about $7,500 per vehicle. You could argue, well, Stephen, why wouldn't they just increase it a few $1,000s? And I come back, the wait times, bro, they're already ridiculous. Tesla's the company that's been increasing prices by $1,000 here, $2,000 here, $3,000 here, over and over and over. If you reverse that, it undoes all the hard work of Tesla trying to keep their wait times in check. They will have literally no choice. So let's do some simple math here from a Tesla stock investor's point of view. In Tesla's Q2 earnings report, they showed they already have existing capacity in the United States for around 900,000 electric vehicles per year. Let's round this up to 1 million, keeping in mind that they're continuing to ramp facilities and eke out incremental capacity increases. 1 million's a nice round number. So let's assume at some arbitrary point in the future, Tesla sells 1 million vehicles, but they've been forced to increase the price $7,500 a pop just to keep wait times in check. Remember, they're already absurd. They're already too long. They're already unreasonable. And the way that Tesla's been trying to adjust for this is literally increasing prices. So let's see where we end up. If Tesla has another $7,500 per vehicle fall to the bottom line just based on US sales, that is a very big number. How big? $7.5 billion of profit straight to the bottom line per year due to these absolutely unnecessary EV incentives. Now remember, Tesla already has industry-leading profit margins. Even with new factories ramping up and the fascist shutdowns in Shanghai, Tesla's automotive margins last quarter were over 25%. Typically, they're hovering around that 30% range or more. In the United States, a $7,500 tax credit, assuming Tesla needs to jack up prices to keep wait times in check. I can't even say this. This is going to push Tesla into the 40% plus gross automotive margin range. This is fucking absurd. They're cars. It's not software. 40% margins? Are you serious? This alone could cause a 25-35% increase in Tesla's net income per year in the next couple of years. Tesla's already a money printer. They're already making obscene amounts of money on every vehicle sold. This is just unnecessary, but I'll take it, icing on the cake. What would you do with an extra $7.5 billion per year? Me, personally, I'd be buying Tesla stock with every spare cent. That'd be enough to pick up about 1% of the company at today's prices. Not bad. My big question is, what the fuck is Tesla going to do with this extra $7.5+ billion per year? They could buy back stock. They could accelerate the expansion of their production capacity, assuming, this is a big assumption, that they can blow open some of their bottlenecks. I don't think they'll be able to do that. So I don't think this money is actually going to help Tesla whatsoever in terms of accelerating their plans. They're already moving as fast as they possibly can. The limiting factor isn't money. They've got plenty of that, and it's piling up faster than they can get rid of it. The limiting factor, currently, battery cells. So what's Tesla going to do with this cash? I'll be pretty pissed as a Tesla stock investor if they allow it to pile up and pile up and pile up. Now don't get me wrong, having a cash buffer is important, and as I tweeted recently, until they have enough cash set aside to cover all foreseeable future capital intensive projects and enough cash aside to account for all unforeseeable possible potential future projects, aka the unknown unknowns, until they have enough cash to tick both of those boxes, whatever, just keep piling it up. But there's got to come a point in the future where Tesla cannot even conceive of a possible scenario in which they would need all of the cash that's piling up. At that point, what do? Share buybacks? They start paying dividends? Do they start making ridiculous acquisitions? Like buy Nintendo, so the only way to play the next Zelda game is inside a Tesla? I mean, they could actually do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but you never know. I'd love to know what you guys and girls think. First of all, are these EV incentives necessary or not? Second, will Tesla increase the prices on their vehicles basically identically in line with the incentive? In other words, everything is going up about $7.5 just to maintain existing wait times? And what should Tesla do with these extra billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of profits every year? Leave your ideas in the comments below. And lastly, don't forget to join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment. Gain access to my Tesla stock price targets out over the next decade, in the worst case and the best case scenario, plus in between, over 100 exclusive Q&A videos and loads of other exclusive content and perks. See you over on Patreon. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.